That was our whole issue.
Right.
Just a little refresher, I believe it was the meeting before July, which would have
Right.
been, that we all agreed, and I think we voted on it.
We
That
did.
it would be a reoccurring item.
I recall that we did the same
Yeah.
thing.
And it wasn't in October, and I think the minutes reflect that the city agreed to do it, and now it isn't in January again, so it
I
just.
Larry, you and I talked about this a little bit, but, there was an explanation, why was it left off the agenda?
Well, so I guess my understanding is the city's waiting for more information to give to us. So at a quick thing, we can't really discuss this, but I think I think we can do this on the agenda, but quickly, what we want to do on the proposed agenda, so the last agenda item is explain, we need to start thinking about what we need to discuss as a committee and make sure that we all agree that these are items we need to put on the agenda so we can discuss. We don't need to take up the city's time with them to research things to panned out. We just need to be able to talk about them. So if there's nothing the city has new, we still need to be able to discuss it. So I guess as far as this agenda item go, having more in the minutes, if we've asked for it several times, we would like to see that. I agree with that. So I think the proposed agenda item, we can probably talk about this a little bit more.
Right, I think we'll put it on for item 6, we'll put it on the agenda at the end of the meeting. I would propose we do that. Right now, I think what has been brought up is the fact that we thought that we were supposed to get some sort of report in our hands, and that hasn't been done, and I recall the same thing, that we should have gotten at least a report if it was available, so I guess the question at hand is, should the meeting notes, I think the meeting notes need to be re-looked at and brought up to date to make sure that they're correct. And then if there is a report available, we need to get a copy of that report to read. You feel that?
So we can discuss that further in item 6, but for item 1, we just need to focus on approving the previous meeting's minutes.
Well,
So can we take a vote to that?
That's the issue, is the minutes
I'm
are
not-
incorrect. One of the issue with the minutes.
all right, I'm going to ask for approval of the minutes, and if we approve them, we'll be
Well,
be done with them.
before we approve-
If not, they don't get approved, then we'll have to.
I don't know what the process is. I thought it
Well,
would
if
just
we
be
don't approve
corrected.
them, they'll have to be for reasons, right? We'll have to come up with the reasons why, and we've already, he's reiterated already why we're not going to approve them if that's the case. And then we just need to have them revamped, I suppose, right?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to look at is they're not, I'm not sure the minutes are wrong, as they're just incomplete. And in the past, I don't believe we were able to modify incomplete. You had to say this was incorrect, or I needed to make sure to clarify. So it's Randy talking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Randy, I think the issue is I can agree with you in that we did discuss certain things, and certain things were not in the minutes as clear as they should be. But since it's even harder on the video to try to go through, is probably, unless you have something that you can state to say we would want this changed to, at least that's what I believe we've done in the past,
I have a compromise.
probably just as easy to approve it. Now, if you've got a comment, you say you want to go to section such and such, and you want to add that, that's probably the best way, and we can say we can approve the minutes based on these changes. Because if we ask them to go back and modify it, it's good, there's really, you're going to have to try to meet with the city to try to figure out how to do it. And to my knowledge, that hasn't been an easy task. So I think the easiest thing to do would be to say, add your comments to the agenda and ask it to be approved with those comments. That's the reason I interrupted the approval process.
Well, I have a compromise, if I could. I'm willing to accept the meeting, minutes, but I know last time you guys allowed us to speak a little bit about the effluent study on another agenda item, and if we could do that, and if we could also have a vote on on making it a reoccurring item on the agenda so we can be kept informed, do that today.
I think I'd do that on 6.
Yeah, if we could do that, then I'd be satisfied. We don't have to change the minutes.
Well, to me, it looks like it was we did that last time.
Right.
Oh, it was done.
The way it reads even.
It was already been
It
done,
is,
but
it
the
is.
city doesn't recognize it for some reason.
Yeah. Well,
I
all right,
mean-
let's, okay. We need to, then, I think what we need is a motion. We can bring this up as an agenda item on 6.
As long as we can talk about it.
And
Yeah.
we won't be able to talk about it today because it's not on the agenda.
Well, we did it last meeting. I
Well,
think they
that- but
allowed
that-
it under
I think that we have kind of circumvented the rules of over there.
Well, I think we allowed it to, on your report, it was part of the,
I think we can get to it in the water report.
yeah, I mean, I think we
Yeah.
could talk about it. I mean, we did last time and you guys
Yeah.
allowed it. Director
I mean,
Stupes allowed it.
if we can do it, we should be able to do it underneath the water report.
Yeah, I'm
Or
good
the
with that.
under item number 3.
Correct.
All right, let's do that. I'm good, I'm for that.
Okay.
Guys, ready?
Okay, so.
Well, let's have a motion then to approve the meetings for October 1st, 2025.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes with all committee members of saying aye. All right, let's move on to item number 2, possible action for the utilities 5-year capital improvements plan.
Hello, Angela Mannanen, Budget Manager. In the packet was the 5-year capital improvement plan for utilities. It hasn't changed since the last time we met. We're going to a rate study, which will address cash flow and see how much funding is available. So really, until we start knowing what the rates are going to be and how much cash we'll have, we really have no new information on the 5-year CIP. But happy to answer any questions.
I have a question about, under the budget here, under water, we have the Vector truck replacement under water. Is that the correct spot for that?
Yes, we have two Vector trucks. One
Okay.
falls underwater, one
One's
falls
funded by
under
water.
wastewater.
That's kind of what looking through all the different budget items, that's what I was wondering, but I just want
Yeah.
to make sure. So you just have them assigned to each department?
That is, yeah, even though it is one,
I understand, I follow.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good with that. I also wanted a little bit of a clarification on the lift station upgrades proposed for 2030 and 2031. We each got basically $5 million, I guess, on each one of those, divided up into the 2 years. And those are just estimate, I'm sure those are just estimates, the best estimate you can come up with. But is there any way that we could upgrade one before the other? Are there any priorities that are going to make that move up?
yes, correct. We're working on lift station 4 right now.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the other two. And one of the things that I'm diving into and looking at is separation of, we need to do our study, our procurement, study year 1, procurement year 2, year 3, construct.
Right.
Or redesign.
Okay, that
And so there
sounds,
will be, I'm
So
diving
that-
into it and looking at that.
yeah, because so then that could be a change. You'd move the study part of that to probably 2029.
A little earlier, yep.
Yeah, and then, I guess the other question I had is the funding of those both at the same time. Is that, I mean, they're both failing at the same time? I mean, is that, you're gonna combine that into one project, or how do you think that eventually will work?
And that is where part of it we're looking at, and it's one of the things we try to separate it where
Right.
we're not doing big projects like that.
Right,
So hopefully we can do a study procurement year, and then while we're doing the second year on lift station 3, then we can start doing the procurement for the next one. on
refresh my
following
memory,
year.
where's lift station 3 compared to 1? Is it, are they in,
So-
are they working together, like 1 pumps to 3?
Yeah, so you got all the way to Pacifica's 4. You got 1 over by
One's down the hill. here.
Nevada Way and
Right.
Boulder City Parkway.
Right,
3 is, 4 was off of Woodacre by Keys. 3 is at Pacifica.
at Pacifica.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 goes to 1.
It does. And then
Okay, so
it's,
3 needs to be looked at first, and then 1 capacities.
and one's newer than the other two. The other two have
Correct.
been around for
Okay.
a while.
All right, well, I'll leave that up to that. I like the idea of looking at that, so, okay. I'm happy with those. Anybody else? Any other comments?
Yeah, I've got a comment. So I think we just need to make sure, so I believe in the study, we're looking at possibly up to 10 years of financials. And so I think with the financials, we'll see. So I think what you were saying, Howard, also is that what I'm hearing too is because we look at fiscal year 30 and fiscal year 31, and those are really heavily loaded. And so we're going to have to go a year or two out, especially in the study, so we know how much can be pushed out. So that would be, and then the other thing is we might, in the study, make sure that we can, if there's anything that's in planning or something, can get shifted around so we can move substation 4. You know, that's where some of these things, like we made a motion, so sort of relating to the minutes, also we made a motion to that what we felt would be a good idea for substation 4, and nothing was said, anything was said about that in this package. So it's going to be part of the rate project, I assume, but and we'll talk more about how often we meet and do that in a minute. But there's a lot of data that we have to go through. We just have to make sure we figure out how we get to it.
Okay. Any other comments? All right,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, let's move on to item 3, your update from Acting Utilities Director Poindexter regarding water and power consumptions. This is for information only.
Could I make a comment real quick before you start? I looked at my package, I didn't have anything on power. Did you mean to not put anything out, it was just on water?
On the graphs or
the
on,
graphs? Yeah.
Josh, I'm referring.
Or was it just
There was
me?
there was a link in the staff report. There's a link.
Did I miss the link?
Yeah, the
that's
link,
Okay.
the link was, the link was in
Holly's
there.
able to pull it up if you want.
No, that's all right. I just thought, I wanted to make sure it was me then. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
it's right down here on.
Okay, I missed that. Thank you.
All right. Gary Poindexter, Public Works Director, Acting Utilities Director. Be a quick overview of the demand. So we got the electric demand decreased 38.5% from 40.61 megawatts in September 2025 to 2498 megawatts in October 2025. November's peak demand further declined to 2405 megawatts, represented 3.7 decrease in October. These reductions are typical as the cooler months, temperatures occur during the winter months. Our water deliveries continue to decline throughout all fall months. September 25 decreased by 22.7 compared to September 24, followed by a 17.5 decrease in October 25 and 11 decrease in November 25. Water deliveries in 2025 were nearly 4% lower than the prior year, and these reductions are attributed to cooler weather and the city's ongoing conservation efforts. Now, so part of number 3 is discussion item. I know you mentioned on the effluent side, and this is more of informational on item 3, but we want to give a quick where we're at.
Yeah, so for the item you want to discuss, Randy,
Yes.
we plan on meeting with you guys individually to educate you on this whole process and the history of it.
Okay.
But as far as any updates, there aren't any. We were like we told you last time. We received the report from SNWA. We sent our feedback back to them, and we are just awaiting to see what's next. I followed up with SNWA recently in December to get any updates, and I haven't heard anything back. So we're just waiting to see what's next in this process.
When did you send your comments out? Do you know? How long ago?
It was in December, probably the last week of December.
Because I think Director Stupak said they'd already been sent out, I thought, in October.
Are you saying the comments for the?
The comments
Well,
for
we-
the cost estimates?
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about when did I follow up. We received. I think that was back in October. We sent that.
Yeah, I think it was, he had said they had already sent back, so,
No, they weren't sent back. We didn't receive anything back from
no, I
SNWA.
mean, you sent it to them.
Correct.
I was just wondering the time frame of that. You sent it to them before October then?
I think it was around, I would have to get you the date. I don't remember the
I
exact
mean,
time.
way before that, or near October, or?
Yeah, I can get you the exact date we sent our comments back to SNWA.
Is there any reason why we can't see the report or the comments? I mean, it's a
Is that-
technical report, it's just a technical report.
Is that a decision you made or they made?
Is that a decision?
That you guys made
As far as
the
the
city?
for which
Releasing the
report?
That we
report.
can't
For
see
releasing the
the
report?
report, or is it a decision they made? They don't want us to see it until the comments go back and forth, even though the report's complete, is to my knowledge, with all the data in there that we really don't know much about at all, other than what was in the newspaper and what Director Stubich told us, but he wasn't real, I mean, it was hard for him to relay all that information, because it's quite a bit of information.
Correct. Once we meet with you guys individually about this, we can discuss that further as far as sharing the report and everything.
Okay.
But we need to, for now, we're not going to share it. But once we meet with you guys individually, we can talk about that further.
So it's something you don't want to share with the public, you just want to share with us. That's,
We want to make sure we have all the right information, and we're getting you the correct information back. But we're going to put a timeline together also. And when we do meet individually, to discuss it more, and there's been no direction of not sharing it. It's more on the lines of making sure any information that is put out there is correct.
correct.
So,
So we'll be informed on everything, and then we can disseminate. If somebody asks, we can disseminate some of that information now that you're assured that we got the correct information.
we want to make, yes, correct.
And we could do that before the next meeting.
That would be our goal.
Great. Yeah, I would like that.
I got to put a timeline together and dive into this
Right.
stuff, and we'll go from there. Any,
I have a few more comments on that if I could.
okay.
Again, I might be wrong on some of this stuff, but I did a little research, and if I'm wrong, please inform me. Just a short statement. Because this is a project that's near and dear to my heart. I've done a little research on the cost of the SNWA turf reduction program and water saved, and SNWA put out about $40 million in 2024 to save the equivalent of approximately 400 million gallons of water a year, the amount Boulder City dumps in the desert every year. I would like to know what the study says of ways to fix this problem. That is, build a pipeline to Henderson for treatment, or build a treatment plant in Boulder City, et cetera, whatever the other reasons are. And the cost, so a comparison can be done. The cost of saving water via turf reduction program is borne by all SNWA customers. Asking BC residents to bear the cost of any improvements to our treatment system and not spread the cost to all customers seems unreasonable, since we are a small, slow-growth town that doesn't get growth income from increased users, and by correcting our problem, we would save the equivalent of water that SNWA customers spend $40 million a year on the turf reduction program. If I recall correctly, SNWA offered to pay for and build a pipeline to ship this water to Henderson several years ago, and our city council and mayor, with some opposition, rejected that offer because of concerns of the pipeline making water available to the El Dorado Valley and therefore opening the door for housing in that area. I was surprised at the time that some kind of deal or agreement could have been made to prevent this pipeline from starting a housing boom in the unincorporated areas of the El Dorado Valley. A person can draw their own conclusions why this subject is not something that the city or SNWA likes to talk about or move forward in a reasonably quick time frame. Yet we continue daily to dump over 1 million gallons of water into the desert instead of coming up with a way in a reasonable time frame to treat and gain credits for this vital water resource. And again, that's kind of why this project is, I've been following it for a long time, and it's just taken forever. So it's kind of, to me, kind of disturbing that we continue to do it. That's why I want to become informed, and that's why a lot of people ask me about this, and I don't have a lot of answers, which I think I should have. So I appreciate
Yeah.
the fact that we're going to talk about this again in another month or two.
Any questions on the water power? overview?
I'd like to see, can we have a table, a similar table to your water, to the water use, with the wastewater flow?
Goes down a link, just,
Yeah, a link would be fine, just shows the same set of graphs here. Because I think it's important that everybody understand the amount of differences between water use and wastewater that's generated. So that we can see, so you guys understand the different, how much water is used for irrigation purposes and how much is used for consumptive use.
I did a little research on that too, and I do have a couple things that I came up with. BC disposes in the desert about 1.2 million gallons a day, or 4 acre-feet a day. That is basically residential and commercial down the drain. And again, if I'm wrong on these figures, please let me know. Landscape and evaporation are extra. That comes out to about 400 million gallons, or 1,200 acre-feet a year disposed in the desert. In July, 10% of our daily usage water goes down the drain. Of course, that's our high usage month, highest. In January, 33% of daily usage water goes down the drain, so that's probably our least amount of water use outside of the drain. So that's a few things
How much did you say was going on annually?
well, I only took July and January. So July, it was only 10% of what we use goes down the drain and could be
Yeah,
recycled.
I mean, I've done the looks at that myself, and if you look at the numbers, if you look at monthly flows, I did that for like year 2023, but the numbers show that we use roughly about 100 gallons per person per day, which is what should be expected from wastewater generation, anywhere from 80 to 100 gallons per person per day. So those that's what I want to show. That's why we need to look at how much do we generate and how much is used as irrigation purposes. So I want to make sure that we understand that part.
Well, that kind of shows in our peak month,
Right. Well,
use,
peak months, you're going to use a heck of a lot
a
more.
whole bunch of water.
Right, and then can you trim that or whatever? That's going to be the discussions, I think, on what you can do to reduce those peaks and from June through September. Those are the real high months. You would hope you could somehow keep that more like what April, May, and October, November would look like.
And again,
Would be a goal, and that's going to have to be a big mindset of change people's ideas. Clean Green Boulder City is going to have to be modified, things like that. So that's a whole cultural issue that's going to have to be changed.
Well, I think if you don't,
Go
can
ahead,
I
Larry.
interrupt for a minute with the process here? So I think this helps with this agenda item, I think, as we go through. So, and we'll get to the rate and we'll get to the agenda item and try to figure more things out. But there again, this is just, there's a lot of data that we have to understand and go through just to understand for future stuff, but also for this rate process so we can get the best understanding and work for the future and get the future aligned in the most efficient way we can. So we need to look at water, who's using what, how much we're being charged for, et cetera. We need to look at the energy more. So Gary, it's a question. Do we know how we're falling in with in the budget for the power? Are we online, or have we, how is the power cost this year? Do you have any idea, or Josh, are we in good shape, or are they up a little bit again?
No,
The market
it's
prices.
as far as the power prices, those are predetermined by SSEA. Like we pay what's budgeted for the fiscal year, and we pay what was budgeted. As far as the budget versus actual on our usage, I can get those numbers, but I don't have them presently because SSEA
Okay.
they lost a lot of
But-
personnel, so their reporting has been delayed.
Oh, great, because that's something we definitely need for the rate process. We need to, so I guess what I'm back to make sure I'm saying is we got water, we got power, and we have sewer, and all those things are we have to understand. And so one more thing, we can't really discuss this issue, but I'm just going to make a comment, just like you did, Randy, in that one of the reasons that there was a problem with we need to talk about this more. That's why we have to have an agenda item. One of the problems with the Henderson one was most of us understood there was at least $1 million a year in the future that had to be paid to Henderson to work with the water. Sorry for lack of a better word, for them to process the water. So those are one of the things. But that's why it's important. So in the agenda item and numbers, our last item again, we want to talk about. We're going to have additional meetings because there's just so much data to go through that you sort of need to think about. Maybe people need to go back and figure out, okay, how long is this going to take just to talk about these different items? You're talking about water, you're talking about power, you're talking about sewer. Each one of them has its own time frame, and each one needs to be fully vented. Well, needs to be discussed in the rate process.
I think, like, as you mentioned, let's get that properly agendized and bring it up at a future meeting, whether we schedule a special meeting once we have all the correct information.
Yeah,
But I think
we need to look at,
I'm sorry, go
we
ahead.
need to see the report, you know. I think we're flying blind if we don't have the report, so.
Right. But I think what I'm saying here, as far as this agenda item goes, we're seeing a certain amount of data with water and power, but with this rate process, this is an opportunity to try to get a better understanding of what, like Randy's trying to get out in the sewer, but we need that in power, we need that in water, we need to understand how things are shifting. So, the reason I'm using this agenda item is because we're talking about water and power. Now we're going to have to put it probably in another agenda item in another meeting, but it's not going to be, you can't have one meeting to discuss what everybody's talking about now. So I'm sorry, we'll push that off till later. You're correct, Gary.
Well, we have to, so. All right, any other comments?
I have a few.
All right.
We talked about last meeting about this new peak power usage increase that Nevada Power put through. And we were supposed to discuss it at the last meeting. I talked about it at the beginning, and I just totally spaced it out. So I don't know how much you know about it.
To see what Josh,
It would be nice if we got a kind of an overview from you guys, just a quick overview on how they do it, and if it's something that we can do, or is that something we could discuss on this agenda item?
We can discuss it on this agenda item, but I don't have enough information at this time to discuss it. I remember when we talked about it last time, we were supposed to talk about it again, but there just haven't been any updates with it at this time. So there's not much to talk about, and I'll have to dig into it a little bit more.
Do you
to get
guys know
some
much about it,
understanding.
or?
I personally don't know much
Okay.
about it as of now. I know of it, but I don't know it at a deep level.
So maybe we can discuss it
Now,
next
Randy-
meeting.
So what are we doing? They're
Randy,
asking
what-
for what?
Can you repeat that again, Randy? What
Yeah.
was
It's
it Nevada Power?
It was in the newspaper, and that's where I got my information, that Nevada Power has a new program where they're going to charge a fee for peak usage. The higher your peak usage is, the more they're going to charge you. It's going to be a surcharge of some sort, and a lot of people were against it. And I just wondered, I understand why they're doing it, because they cost them so much for peak usage, and they want to try to reduce it and try to force their customers to be more cautious when they turn on their washing machine and their dishwasher at 12 in the afternoon in July. So I understand it, but it didn't give a lot of detail. And of course, I wonder if it would be a good thing for Boulder City as a utility to do the same thing. So I just wanted a little more information on it, if it's feasible for Boulder City, and what you guys thought about it. So that was,
Yeah, like I said, we don't have much information on it right now because we're our own utility. We don't do necessarily what NV Energy does, but we are about to go through a rate study, and throughout that process, we'll be left with a lot of options, and maybe that might be an option.
yeah, that might be
So-
something we could talk about with the rate study.
But I think it'd be nice to know what they're proposing so we can understand what we're up against.
Again, it's just what
Yeah.
I read, and it
Right.
said that if you use so many kilowatt hours over
Right.
a certain amount, they're gonna charge you a surcharge
I
every
mean,
month on your bill.
some places have where if you go over the peak, or you get a demand,
Mm-hmm.
it applies to your entire bill for that month, or
Yeah.
that time frame,
Right.
which can be devastating to people, so, so I
So I
agree.
think-
We
so
need to
kids-
understand that.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, so I think we're still in the power precinct, so I can explain a little bit. So with this consultant, as Josh said, this is planned to discuss, and I think one of the consultants, or it was discussed, that demand might be done, but it's also discussed, and that's what this rate process will be, we need to work with, is that we might want to say, yes, we need to do it in the future, but it is a little bit of a shock to do it right away. So we're going to do a rate for this year, we'll do this rate, next year we'll do this rate after, the year after that we'll do this, and we'll see what we can do, or we can sort of say, let's push for conservation. And I think that's one thing we're trying to do, is say, okay, try to get the information out, let's conserve. If the conservation doesn't work, and because what's happening with our power is during your heavy peak season, we're still buying on the market during that time frame, and that's killing us. So if we can get off that market during that time or reduce that will help a lot. The second thing is if we can get conservation. So there are ways around this, but again, I'm just going to keep emphasizing there's a lot of data that this committee needs to go through to understand what is the best way to do the rate. So we're doing a cost of service, and then they're going to look at the rate design, and then they're going to say, here's what other municipalities, here's what you can do at cost, and what can we do to try to work things out. But again, I'm sorry to repeat it, but it's a lot of data, so we have to have time to be able to discuss it, to say pros and cons.
Yeah, I'll just make one more comment,
But
if I could.
some of these items should be on number 5, the rate study. We're still on 3.
Oh, you want to go to the rate study for this?
Well, what we were just talking about on,
Yeah.
I don't know what unless your comments are about the current consumption
we
I
can
just went over.
We can just cover it under.
No,
rate.
this is, I can
Interrupt you, yeah.
I can
No,
comment, it's just a quick comment, I can do it on the rate study.
We're doing it in the rate study.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any
I
more
have
items on?
One more thing,
Go ahead.
about the refuse disposal, I guess, is that appropriate on this agenda item?
If, we can, actually, no, we need to agendize that, but
Okay.
if,
Is it appropriate on any item, or just on number 6 for an agenda item, or?
Probably number
yeah,
6.
number 6 for utility for upcoming meetings, if
Okay.
it's something you want to put on there. If it has to do with the contract, no. If it has to do with,
Just in general, I'm just curious about what I read in the paper and what's really true about refuse disposal and about issues. Save it for 6? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Okay, we'll close out item number 3, agenda item number 3. Now we're on to agenda item number 4. Status up to date from Utilities Engineer Bill Brunig on progress and developments of ongoing capital improvement projects. Who's filling in?
I'll fill in. Bill is, he's out sick today, so I will take that over 1 second. So, for our ongoing projects, we don't have a ton of updates other than from what we had last meeting. What I will say is I have a couple key highlights for some of our projects, starting with, let me look at electric. So for E2301, the substation 3 rebuild, that project is ongoing, and Burns and McDonald, one of the subcontractors that CRC uses, they just finished about 30% design work on that. E2505 or E2305 are meter upgrades. As you know, we have an ongoing AMI pilot for our electric meters, and this pilot project is going very well, and we are thinking of adopting those meters and upgrading them citywide. So there might be a project for that in the future. It'll probably be the
Which,
same
which
project.
number was that, Josh?
E2303, meter upgrades.
Oh, 2303, okay, that
Correct.
makes sense more to me, okay.
And for water, W2301. 2301, let me see. Yeah, so ARV and backflow replacement. So we replaced two 8 inches over at Muni with that one. S2302 down the sewer. So rehabilitate sanitary sewer mains. Wilson Engineering, they're doing a lot of work for us on this. We just paid a couple invoices for them doing some of that work. And S2401, lift station 4 improvements. Mountain Pine is doing work. It's ongoing on that right now. And those are like the key updates with these projects. Everything else, there's no significant updates of note on the rest of them right now at this time.
I do have one I'll add on the water side. We went out to bid for copper services. So we went out to 3 different bids. We have 2 different contractors that were awarded. ASA 1, Acme 2 of them. So they're already beginning. And
I'm sorry, what was that for? I missed.
copper service replacement. Sorry, that sounds better, doesn't it?
Where the street, where they replace it from the house meter to?
Yeah, they'll put a new, they trench down, they'll
The
pothole
ongoing-
down.
The ongoing one, right?
Get rid of the old curb stop, or
Yeah.
corp stop, put a new one in, run a new line, copper service to the meter. And then at that time, we replace the meter if needed to an AMR, so.
So Gary, was that, so we're getting, did you say 2 or 3 different contractors online for that?
3 projects, 2 contractors.
Okay, and so is that gonna make sure that we get the ARP or the
AMR?
extra money, the pay used?
Oh,
Is that helping with that? Make sure we get that money used?
yeah, that's all
Sure.
ARPA, that was all spent. This was, the ARPA fund, that
The
did
ARPA
quite a bit of
fund-
meters. We finished those projects. These are 3 new projects, not ARPA funded.
Oh, okay. I see, okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the committee? All right, we'll move on from item 4 to item 5. Agenda item number 5 is update of utility rate study and overview of next steps. All right, Josh is our man.
So for the utilities rate study, it just got approved at council last night at their meeting with our consultant that we selected, which we told you about at the previous meeting. So the next steps, once we get the contract signed by our staff and FCS, we're going to have a kickoff meeting. It'll be at the end of this month on the 29th. And once we have the kickoff meeting, Larry, the appointed liaison for this committee, he will be involved in that as well. And once we have the meeting, we'll go from there and continue regularly provide you updates. You guys will have meetings with the consultant as well, as was in the scope of work, to keep you guys informed. And we've already started sending them data, so that's all we have for now as far as the rate study. Any questions?
One thing I noticed in their proposal, I suppose this is their proposal for the rate study. I was confused by I'm assuming we're gonna have a wastewater rate study as well.
Yeah, all utilities will be evaluated. I think the confusion.
It says that in other one spots, and then it goes and says they're looking only at water rates, so I'm
Oh, no,
assuming.
no, it's,
I'm assuming that wastewater rates and water rates are the same. But
no, they're not the same, but
I know, but I mean, they're included in the same
yeah,
title.
I think the confusion is, and we had some other people get confused on this as well, the cost of service isn't being done by all utilities. The only utilities getting a cost of service study, a full analysis, is electric and water. Landfill and sewer, they're getting evaluated, yes, but they aren't receiving a cost of service study because it's simply not necessary.
Okay, well, I think that's something we want to determine, but, yeah, okay, all right. I guess that's how I was misreading it then, is that I was looking for the wastewater study. Is that part of that? That probably clears up my question then. I'll read.
Yeah, Howard, if I can help, Howard, so basically what you've got, you remember we're only paying the one rate for the sewer.
Right.
And so
right.
basically, you're gonna determine how much we plan to do in the future, and that's where the SNWA is gonna be very important. And so right now, unless you change that rate into something else, there's really no need for a cost of service, because it's just like, okay, you're just gonna break it in, that's where you sort of do a percentage of an increase. Whereas the water and the power, then there are several different rate aspects. If you look at the resolutions, you'll see, you've got several different rate designs and rate structures. And so the cost of service then goes into all of that, whereas the landfill and the sewer doesn't need to. Does that help anybody anymore?
I understand what you're saying, Larry. That's a good point. But I think I misread I think Josh cleared it up for me, what I was looking at, what generated my question, so.
Right, but I think we want to sort of go through the steps, so it's in the rates, so we need to do it somewhere in the middle minimally. We don't want to get at the end or the draft report and say, well, do we understand this data properly, or can we have some input? So that's where we, as a committee, and maybe either discuss it a little bit here, or at least in the next one, is, okay, do we agree when we might want to have another meeting? So instead of just an agenda item, we need probably 1 to 2 additional meetings minimum between now and July. So we've got one in April, and we need to see when they're available and what the data is available, whether it's going to be March or May that we have at least one more meeting. And then we got to figure out how we can go over a lot of the data.
So data collection is scheduled for, it looks like, data review, project initiation data review. It looks like it's got like a 2 or 3 week window here, but that's kickoff, financial plans, progress meetings.
Correct, and like I said, they already sent me their data request sheet,
Right.
like back in December, like middle of December. And
Right.
I've already collected a lot of the data that they requested and sent it over to them. I still got a couple more things, but by the time the kickoff happens, they should have everything, and if not, we'll discuss it during the kickoff and see what else they need.
Yeah, I mean, there's no schedule on this, on page 6 of their, of the schedule here. It shows that we have 8 meetings, 2 per utility, but it doesn't have any estimated times. Because I'm sure they're gonna take, this looks like it's about a 2.5 month program as far as kickoff, progress review, getting all the data together. Then cost of service analysis starts in the middle of the 3rd month, or the 2nd month. So I guess what I'm getting back to is, want to get back to what Larry's suggesting, is when we need to set up these meetings. What's going to trigger our request for a meeting, so we can put something together.
We plan to keep you updated in between meetings, and if
Okay.
needed, at that time, we can schedule a special meeting.
All right, Larry's going to be a part of this discussion, correct? I mean,
Yes.
he's going to be active in this. So I guess we're going to have to rely on you, Larry, as to when we're going to have a meeting. That kind of appears to me.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if we talk about it here or the next agenda item, but I guess what we'd have to assume, so okay, maybe, I'll ask at the next agenda item how we get that special meeting if it's not on one of our meetings. Because we'd have to email or call, the city would have to contact everybody to say, okay, is it willing? So if we have a meeting before April and we don't make the meeting in this meeting, then we'll have to figure out how that works. Because the biggest thing is that I'll be involved, but like I said, with all this data, we want to be able to discuss it and make sure that all the committee members understand the data and understand the pros and cons and how we might want to push for them to look at the rate data or what, you know, how we would advise, put it that way, because that's what our job is. How do we
Right.
best advise
Right.
which direction we think would be a good idea?
Well, still, I think it comes down to, if you're gonna be directly involved, I think that's gonna maybe be one of our, you're not, you know, when we're gonna have to trigger a meeting. And I would say we're at to anticipate something in March, it sounds like to me, if they can get through their data and get what they need. Because February looks like you're gonna have, that's probably gonna be analyzed time. So I would suspect in March would be our next opportunity to tentatively think about a meeting.
Right, so let's put
According
that
to
up.
their schedule.
Right, let's look at the next agenda item and say the agenda and meetings. I think that has for both areas. Is that correct?
What's that?
Yeah, that's correct.
So Josh, would you agree that the agenda, where we want possible agendas, we can discuss the meeting at that agenda item a little more too?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so we can discuss it among the committee members. This one is more or less, okay, what do we think with the rate process, which is, we're talking about the meeting, so I think you and I agree. What do the rest of the committee think? How much discussion do they think they're gonna want to have on the rates? I think that's this agenda item, we can sort of just say that.
Yeah, this agenda item is just for information only, so shouldn't be too much discussion here. I gave you the information, the updates, and the next steps. And if you guys have any questions on that process and the next steps, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, and I guess that's the key issue we have to still, after all these years, I'm still trying to make sure, because I thought so, because when it says for possible action, that's most of the time we're going to vote. If we're just saying this is how we feel, we're not asking for people's vote, we're just saying, do they think that's a good idea? So isn't that still part of information, or does that have to be under an action item?
I think the things that you guys have kind of veered off to should go in the next agenda item. But like I said,
Okay.
for this item, we've reviewed the rate study process and the next steps. So any questions on that, I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, I think we can have a lot more discussion on the next agenda in the next item.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. Thank you. I'm done then.
Just curious, I'd have to look at the schedule, but we're going to have the meeting probably when? The first meeting to,
I believe April is the next official UAC meeting.
For our meeting?
no, for the city to meet with the consultant. There's the
Oh,
5
it's
stages,
the 29th
29th of
January.
January.
Yeah, that's the kickoff meeting.
Okay, and the second meeting is what now?
We haven't discussed that yet. I'm pretty sure we'll get the schedule and everything during the kickoff of when we'll meet with the consultant next.
I just wondered how far along in the process we're going to be before our next meeting, our quarterly meeting.
That's what I was looking at here, this
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
on the agenda.
Right,
but
so
I don't have it in front of me.
how attentive that is, so we just.
So when does the second phase start?
Second phase two starts in mid-January. So-
Okay.
So we're here.
we're into it.
We're
It's
here,
gonna go
so
for 3 months,
that's what I'm gonna
doesn't
say, by the time they award the contract, how quickly they award the contract, they're already requesting data. It's gonna have to shift somehow in there.
So I know we have a lot of feedback for things that would be included in the rate study. And since it seems like we're 3 months down the road and they're going to be well into it by the time we give some input into what we think some of the things they should look at in the rate study.
Right.
Like, this peak thing we talked about where if we could have a way to encourage people to not use their washers and dryers at 12
Well-
in July, things like that. That's
Yeah.
something
Well,
that
that-
would be included in their study.
Yeah. but
So
I mean-
with the kickoff meeting on the 29th, we'll have a better idea of a timeline and the added meetings. And I think it was mentioned earlier, at least a minimum of 2 extra meetings in
Yeah.
between to give plenty of time to review the data, review where we're going, and meet back up during a special meeting.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
have some input before it gets too far along, in other
Yeah,
words.
and individually, we can meet with you, we can also have a briefing, individual briefing, excuse me, and definitely keep you up to date in between. That is the plan, so.
Great.
So everything really is going to be based on getting that January 29th meeting scheduled.
Yeah,
And then with the schedule they'll come up with after that, and that'll give us some definition of possible times for our meetings.
I believe that is the way to go, is get
And
that
then
kickoff.
Larry's going to have to be the one, I think, to trigger that for
Yeah.
us, for at least getting us involved, so.
Yeah,
All right.
we do not plan on.
I think, I mean,
Yeah.
but anybody else thoughts or concerns? or-
Sounds
I
reasonable to
agree
me.
with you.
Okay, cool. All right. Larry, anything from you?
So on this agenda item, I'm good, thank you.
All right, anyone else?
And I'm correct in assuming we're not going to talk about, in this rate study, they're not going to talk about the refuse or the dump, I guess you'd say, as a rate study?
Landfill.
The landfill. I was trying to think of the right term.
Well,
Yeah.
landfill's included,
Those rates going to be discussed also? They are, aren't they?
yes.
The landfill itself, we overlook, not the contractor that we have. That's
So
with
they'll
the
look at
city,
the rates.
the rates.
The rates will be studied in ways of I guess, fixing a system that might be a little broken or something like that. They're going to talk about ways of getting more income or getting a reasonable amount of income.
Yeah,
That'll all be talked about in
Four
the,
utilities were included in the study,
Okay.
are included in the study, excuse me.
great.
All right, any more questions, any more discussion on item number 5? All right, we'll close that out, and now we'll go to agenda item number 6. For possible action, discuss potential agenda items relative to revenue requirements of the utility for upcoming meetings. All right, open.
Well,
Randy?
we do have an agenda item for the
Right.
utility study. That's going to be automatic, right? Until this is done, we'll have one on every agenda.
Correct.
Yep. And then we also wanted to make sure that the SNWA study's on there.
Well, no, I guess you're talking, we're not going to do that on the agenda because we're going to have a separate meeting for that, correct?
Well, I think we should have it, I still think we should have it as an agenda item.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think you're right. No, I think we
Oh,
want
if that's.
we want it as an agenda item.
Yeah,
We
so-
already agreed to that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
our request was not heeded to, so we need to make sure that's on there.
Yeah,
Even if
so
there's no information.
Is that something
Even if,
that
yeah, even
we
if there's
will-
no information.
So we'll have a meeting between now and the next meeting, so we become informed, and then we're gonna have an agenda item every meeting until this issue is resolved, just to talk about, I don't know what you want to discuss in an open meeting as far as details, since we'll be all informed at the next meeting.
Right.
Was it just be an update from the time we have our little meeting between you guys and then the next regular meeting here? Is that what it'll be encased in that? You follow me? No. Okay, so we're gonna get all up to speed in another month or two, right? With a separate meeting on the effluent, and then on the effluent. And
The goal is to bring it back to you on that. That would be, but I believe it also, Craig, Josh, help me out on here, and I apologize, I'm diving into a lot of this new information for me. But I believe it does have to go to council first?
so in other words, this compromise of us having a meeting and becoming informed is gonna take away the requirement to have a reoccurring agenda item. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because you don't want to get false information out in this meeting? I'm still,
I think we.
because we are going to have progress between the time we talk about this in a special meeting and the next utility meeting. There's going to be progress there. And if we don't discuss it and you don't tell us of the progress, then we're kind of out in the dark again. You see what I mean?
Well, I'm kind of confused here. We had in our last meeting in October, we had SNWA effluent reuse item should appear as a reoccurring item on the agenda. I think that's what we want. I want,
That's
that's
what
what I
we want, but
That's what I-
it looks like the city
Well, I
doesn't
don't
want
care.
it.
I think we should ask, it's our committee.
Okay. Well, I'd like
what
to
we need-
We
hear your
voted on
input
it.
again, why because maybe I misunderstood you, why you don't want it on the agenda reoccurring.
If you guys want to vote to put it on the agenda, like, by all means,
Okay.
like you just said, Howard.
We can do that.
You
I
can do
think
that.
Mike's already pointed out, it is, we
did it two
voted on it.
meetings
We already
voted.
did it, but we could do it again.
Correct.
A restate.
I think we should, okay.
Okay.
I need a motion then on restating that we want a reoccurring meeting, an SNWA effluent reuse item to reoccur monthly or at each
At
meeting.
least a status report.
You know, we'll just put it on so we can
Okay,
discuss
let's-
whatever.
A status
Can we-
report
can we
of,
discuss- Let's discuss this really quick before we put the motion down. I gotta make sure which way we're doing it. But, so what we want is, there's two things I want to bring up to the fact. And it's, so Howard, I guess I'll ask bluntly, are you thinking about reapplying, for another 3 years for this committee?
I didn't realize I could, but I will, yes, I will.
Okay.
If it's
So, but-
allowed, if it's allowed, I will.
I know there's a
So
limit.
what
I
the
think.
reason I bring that up is that April would be your last meeting and my last meeting if we don't
Right.
get reappointed.
Right,
And so you have the wealth of the knowledge of this sewer issue. And so we want to use your knowledge to discuss this among the committee. And if we're only advising, so if we have certain facts we can discuss, then we need to be able to discuss it, not just an update. We need to be able to discuss it. So April is a very important time, just in case some reason you and I don't get reappointed.
right, right.
And so those are the facts that we have to make sure everybody understands. So that's why it's important to understand how it's written as an agenda item. Well, first off, that it gets to be an agenda item, and what freedom we have to discuss the agenda. We don't want to be into rumors or anything like that, but we need to be able to say, can we get on a similar page with all 5 committee members to understand what the facts are that we understand?
Well,
And then if we don't understand it, because we are advising the council, so
right,
minimally, if it goes to the council, it's got to come back to us before the council finalizes it.
right,
So
exactly.
the more data we can discuss early, the better off we are.
But,
And if we're going to keep these meetings down below 3 hours, you have to be able to discuss things as they come along, not just, oh, here it is, we're making the decision the next council meeting, so what do you guys think?
but the key part to that, to me, is that we don't even have the report. And without having a report, we don't have any facts, or even it's all innuendo, it's all been rumors on what could be out there. We're working off of old data,
But the committee, I
injection
mean,
wells,
the city
injection
council,
wells, and all kind of other.
the city council has agreed to have a special meeting to inform us of everything they know, correct? I mean, everything
Well, it
you can
sounds
share
like-
with us, details and,
But has
So
it-
basically the
has
report-
has the report that you've already commented on, has the city council seen that report?
No.
All right, so none of us have seen that
No.
report. No one's has seen that report. So.
but you're gonna share as
Okay,
much
so-
info as you can with us.
Once we get comments, our comments get replied to, and we know we can get it to council.
But what's holding that all up?
We just Josh just reached out to him again, SNWA.
I mean, this has been going on for, what, 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
We don't manage them.
I understand,
trying to
I
work with
understand,
them,
but, I mean,
We were right there with you.
I mean, if we don't
We're-
have, I mean, in the first time we did get a report or some sort of status update from SNWA, there were absolutely no costs involved in that report. That's one of the things we asked for, is what is the cost of each proposed solution? There were, at one point, I think, almost up to 5 or 6 different solutions. And there were absolutely no costs involved with each one of those. And I'm telling you, there's gonna be significant cost in anything we look at. Because even if we just pump it over to Henderson, they're not gonna give up 1.5 million gallons of water capacity in their plant for nothing. Because that takes away 15,000 people from their build outs. So that's gonna cost somebody something, all
But it's
right?
like Randy said, that
But even everything,
the SNWA will be gaining the advantage of getting that water put back in. So everybody should be paying for it. It shouldn't be a Boulder
yeah,
City
and what's,
cost.
you know, I'd like to understand what the dollar, almost to me, it almost has to come back to us as, what is the dollar per gallon or million gallons of return flow? How much is that, what is that cost to SNWA? What's that benefit to SNWA? What's the benefit to the city citizens here? Is it worth it?
Well,
Right now, we're just pushing it out to the,
all you have to do is look at how much money they're spending to do turf replacement.
right.
And if.
And I agree.
And according to Director
Right.
Stubitz, they have estimates, the city has estimates that they are sending to SNWA on how much it'll cost for
Right.
these 6 or 4 or whatever measures to correct this. So
Right.
the figures are out there right now. We
Right.
just don't
Right.
have access to them.
Right.
So we're gonna reel things back in on
I agree,
getting
but-
agendized.
But you realize what we're
But-
not getting, and we're sitting up here,
And we don't have the information.
Oh, I don't think so. You guys got Joe said he had the information. He said that they came up with estimates.
And there was comments back, so if we supply information that is not fully, I haven't read it, I haven't looked at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so
yeah.
it is something that has to go to council too, and it's something I'm gonna check in on a little further, and I can get back to you. But we do
Yeah.
need to get back on track, and it is something we're gonna look, just to clear something up, on the rate study, the focus was the electric and water, because as Randy mentioned, the different classes, the different, structure, that has a lot more structure than our landfill and so the rate study is a focus on our electric and water. And Randy, I just want to thank you for being a part of that selection committee. Is that,
Larry.
what was in depth on the landfill? It wasn't we're not doing the cost of service on it, but on the rate study itself.
Okay, so Gary, this is Larry. So
Larry, I'm sorry.
You're asking,
Sorry.
no problem. So I believe with the landfill is be similar to the sewer, is that you need to figure out what the overall costs are, and that's, I think they were trying to look at like a 5-year, but I think it was possible 10-year financial study. Out of that, then you need to figure out the revenue requirements, and then you figure out I'm not sure if this rate study was going to suggest, I think they will, a basic, let's say that they say that we need to do something more than just the rate we have. For right now, we have sewer, the rate study, the landfill has 3 aspects to it, and then you would say that. So I believe that it's going to be looked at, but not into the major depth, but I believe they would have alternatives, and if it's some basic requests, I don't think that's going to have a problem to make sure that they do that with the sewer and landfill. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's correct, Larry.
So does that say, Gary, is that what you're
Yes,
asking for?
thank
Gary?
you. So I just wanted to clear that
But
up. So.
So I think what the key issues we're asking for, and that's why this agenda item always gets complicated, is because we're asking to be able to discuss issues. We're asking for things on agenda items, and we've got, I guess we have, like this today, I think we're doing 4 things. We're doing, okay, can we have it on the agenda item? And then we go to, how is the agenda item going to be defined? We need to make sure we can discuss it. So if an update doesn't allow us to discuss it, then we have to say for possible action. That way we can discuss it. And if we did make an motion just to say, do we all agree that we're on the same page? If that's what it takes for possible action, we need to have that stated. And then, so maybe it is only 3. Then we need to say, okay, I think we can still do this on this one. Do we need another meeting to go over it? So what we're trying to do is we're just trying to make sure we understand the facts. So there are certain facts out there with the sewer issue that should be there from when we asked for the request from there. So not the data that we're waiting on, but the data that we knew for sure that, we requested just to have two things. Well, can you tell us, is the Henderson being considered again? Maybe, is that something we can tell? So in the individual ones, there are data I think you could share with us individually to say, this is what we do know. The other information the council hasn't received yet, we haven't. But there is a little problem, we need to work with that too, because if we're advising the council, I don't understand why we can't see it, even if we have to make a declaration that we're not going to share it, that we need to advise the council. So sometimes we need to see it either before or at the same time. So that's where I'm confused on some of this issue also with when it comes to the agenda and meetings.
So as you have before, if you're requesting to put on the agenda. In the meantime, I'll get some more information and I'll have to get back to you guys.
Then we'll have a special
Okay,
meeting.
I appreciate it.
And
Yeah, I think the reason we're pushing back is we're just hoping that we can do it sooner or later because it does relate to the rates. And so if SNWA drags their feet, it doesn't get to the council and nothing happens before the rate process and we can't discuss it before the rate process, it's another factor that just doesn't get resolved. That's why we're pushing back so hard.
Yeah, we just want to make sure there's not misinformation out there. As mentioned, there's different directions that were recommended. Those might change, we don't know. So that is something that before it gets, any misinformation is put out there, we need to make sure it's correct. So we'll have to get back
I
to
think
you
what right. Because I think the minimum we'd like to do, maybe that if we could do it before April, is just, can we get the committee members on the same page? So if you are willing to say, this is the information that we had before the new committee members came on, minimally, would that be, because that's the information that's public. So that's the type of thing minimally that we could discuss that, okay, this is the information we knew going into the study. Can we talk about that? See, I think that's what we're pushing back for, just in case you're saying, well, we don't have that much data. You do have the data that we went into the study with.
Correct. So if you want to put it on the agenda, we'll go from there.
well, we had a motion.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
do we need a motion or not? It's already been requested. But do we need to clarify what we're requesting?
I think we should clarify it and make another
Yeah,
motion.
I think so too.
I can make it or you can make it.
Go ahead.
Okay, I make a motion that we have a reoccurring item on the effluent study where we are told progress or lack of progress, and we have can ask questions and get answers that we might have of the process. And does that cover it?
Does for me.
Just to make sure we put for possible action. I think for
And-
possible
and-
action needs to be put
right.
on
Okay,
And for possible action.
okay, for possible action.
I don't think action would be taken on, it would be discussion.
I'm kind of confused on the
Yeah,
action
but-
part. I mean, we're going to
Can we
make,
say discussion and action, or just have to do?
I mean,
one
all
or
we
the
do is
other?
make recommendations, right, to the
Okay.
city?
Yeah, but if we don't have the complete information, and if we are bringing something to discuss, I don't know if there would be necessarily any action taken on it.
So we have to
Okay, so
say,
just here's what I'm trying to clarify, Gary, and Josh, you can help me. So in this last agenda item, on the rate update, it was for update only, Now then, and so I didn't know how many options we had. If we can say for discussion, that's fine. But we were sort of shut down on the last one with the rate because, well, here's what I have to offer. We're not supposed to discuss it on this item because it's an update only. That's what I'm trying to
Do we
avoid.
need
So
two
if
agenda
action's inappropriate, that's
Do we need two
okay.
agenda
But there has to be
one for
some way we
discussion
can
and one for
discuss it.
action.
So because this has happened for 6 years, this happens to us quite often, is that we get to the agenda, we think we can talk, and then it's like, well, no, it wasn't written that way, and this is all you can do. So all I'm asking is that we can make sure it's written in a way that we can discuss it.
So you're talking about two motions, one to get an update, and the other one to ask questions? Is that something we would need to do?
No, it should be one agenda item.
Yeah,
and
we
it's
can just say
all we have to
update and
do is be able to
discussion,
discuss
and that'll be
it.
fine.
We can just do it like
Say
I
what?
said.
You can just say update and discussion,
Okay.
and that'll be fine.
It's fine, okay, good.
Discussion, how about a discussion and possible action if you,
That's
if
what
there
I was
was an
thinking.
action, but.
I'm confused about what an
Yeah.
action means.
Yeah, let's,
I mean,
so what are you saying, Josh?
We can just say update and discussion.
And
for
that
that
allows
particular
us
item.
to
That allows
freely
you
ask
to free-
questions and
correct.
discuss it without
Correct.
whatever we're told, we get a
Correct.
report on.
well, it's
we
going to
can
be
discuss.
public knowledge anyways.
Correct. But no, I mean, if we're told, what can we discuss? Only what we're told about?
You can discuss what's on the agenda, and a for possible action is if the body is going to make a motion and a direction or some type of action on
Okay.
it, but it has to be within your scope.
Right.
But you absolutely, if it says update and discussion, you can discuss it, you just can't make a direction.
Right.
And for instance, like when you're talking about this rate study, at that point, there would be no motion to be made because it's already been approved by the city council.
Right. Okay.
To complete what's within that agreement, that scope of work has already been approved.
All right.
I-
I think,
Right, but Tammy, on that case, so we weren't talking about a motion, we were just trying to say, okay, even if we were just saying, does everybody on the committee agree with this concept? So we weren't asking for a motion on the rate process, we were asking for for the rate consultant, we were asking for just an understanding, as the committee understand what we believe needs to be done in the next couple steps. And that's the discussion. So the action would be, that's where I'm confused, just to make sure we're on the same page.
She was just giving an example,
Is there-
Larry.
is there
Yeah, I
need
was just
for-
giving an
is there-
example,
Yeah, so
and
like-
for the record, I didn't say Tammy McKay, city clerk. So I'm not even understanding I'm not understanding, Larry, what you're asking to do with the rate study that was just approved by the city council. Are you suggesting that this group would make changes to what's already been approved?
No, I never did that. I never said that during this meeting at all. What I was saying is there's a lot of data, what I kept repeating was there's a lot of data that we have to go for. And we're pretty positive we need at least one more meeting other than our normal meetings.
Yeah,
I
I
was
heard
just
that, and
hoping
that's not an issue. Gary Poindexter can work on a meeting date.
but like,
Okay, so we're okay. I wasn't trying to be derogatory on the four, but it was, and that's one thing and as the chairman too, I greatly appreciate Howard doing this today, but as the regular chair, I'm just trying to understand what we need to ask for. So if it's an update or it's discussion or action. So I think there's three things. So if we were to do a motion on like the working capital, where we would say we want to do something or we advise something on the capital as an example, then that would have to have an action. If we're just saying we want to discuss it, then we don't have to have an action, but can we discuss it? Can we ask the committee if they agree? Does that have to have an action or is that just a discussion?
No, I mean, you would get that out of it just by the discussion, whether or not somebody's in favor of something or not. But Larry, outside of the meeting, we can work on the next meeting, and I'm happy to work with you regarding the language of the agenda.
okay, because
Okay,
I guess
okay.
what
I mean to drag it on.
I'm sorry, Larry. You done, Larry?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
done.
I guess what I'm confused by is that, or how this all comes about is, if we say we learn some information in the report, we're listening, or we have the report in front of us, and we want to discuss specifics, like why it is this, if it were whatever one solution came up, and it didn't have enough costs, or we wanted an explanation on the costs, can we ask those questions and get answers, or do we have to make a motion to get more information? How does that pan out?
No, we can just write the agenda title, the item, to go over everything that you're asking.
Because I almost
That's
feel
not
like
an
we're
issue.
handcuffed on what we can talk about, and I don't want to delay it to the next meeting. I'd like to suggest like if we find out something has costs, or we don't have enough costs, or whatever, how can we direct that to be improved or added to, or whatever? That's why I want to be clear on what we learn and what we feel is an action, or collectively come up with another solution, or or more information needed.
No, we can make it for possible action, and if it's something that you feel strongly about as a body, that you want to make a recommendation to the council, then you can do that. It is a recommendation.
Okay,
And that's the motion I made. You'll include that so that we could make a recommendation and vote on it if we, for instance, feel like one solution to the effluent problem is better than the other, or that we shouldn't have to pay for it. All SNWA should have to pay for it, those kind of instances. We can make a recommendation.
Well, if that's
Without
something
agenda
under
item.
your scope, I need to go back and look at and see if that's something that is under this body's scope. And if we have the information that you're saying, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, we've done that in the past. We've made recommendations and we voted on them, and with an agenda item where we're filled in on what's going on and we ask questions. And that's been pretty common, if I recall, in the last year or and a half or so I've been here, is we've been able to do that, make recommendations. We just want to make sure that the motion that I'm carrying here allows us to do that.
yeah, I'll look into it.
Okay.
so,
Yeah, Tammy, one thing too, and for the rest of the committee, so I'm not trying to push back too hard here, but just, I think to help clarify, one of the main scopes of this committee is the revenue requirement. And so if there are additional costs, that's a revenue requirement, and that's what we would say is, hey,
correct.
this looks to be that it would be an increase to the
Larry,
revenue requirement.
I'm happy to bring that
Yeah.
matter back when it's been agendized. So if you want that as a
Oh,
future
okay.
agenda item, I hear you, and it's been noted, but it's not really up for discussion right now, is in great detail like you're providing.
So,
Okay.
is
Is my
do we make
agenda-
another motion?
I
Do
mean,
we-
is my motion okay?
Yeah, that's why, yes, do we make another motion, or from what just?
Yeah, you don't even need to make a motion. This item is regarding upcoming agenda items, and I'm sure either Josh or Gary has noted down
Right.
what items you're looking to be brought forward.
Because my feeling is after, from the discussion we've just had, is that when this report is made available to us, or the information, that whatever, that we could freely discuss it. That's what I want to be able to do.
And we want to make a motion because this is the third time, and Josh said we could make a motion and we could, and I've already made a motion, so we can continue on it, right?
Well,
On the motion
it
to,
sounds like we don't need a motion.
well, again,
It's not a motion. This item that's on here is upcoming agenda topics you would like to have for the next agenda.
well, it's a motion is to have a recurring agenda item, correct? That's the motion.
It's not a motion, it's just a discussion on upcoming agenda items,
so-
yes.
From what's being said, it's going to be on there next time.
Oh, okay.
All
Okay,
right.
so we don't need,
And
And
I-
if it's within the utility advisory scope on what your duties are, yes,
Okay. Why don't you resend that scope to us?
I will.
so we don't need a motion then?
Do not need a
Okay,
motion.
It'll be on the agenda
All
next
right,
time.
what was the other, we had another item.
If it's within your scope, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
What was our other thought we were going to put, request?
Well, first of all, I wanted to ask, because there is a term out on committee members, correct?
No, there is not.
There
I just, we serve at the pleasure of city council. No term.
No, you
limits.
have terms.
I thought there was terms. What are they?
Well, I don't know off
Oh,
the top of my head, but I'm happy to email it to you.
My question is,
but we do have
were
terms.
talking about him and having to be re-upped. Well, how long have you been
I thought I had the limit. I thought I was at the limit.
that's what I was
It has a
curious.
limit, but it's 12 years.
It's
12
12
I haven't
years.
been on for 12 years.
Okay, then you haven't reached
Okay,
the
but
limit.
then
Oh, so
we're
you know
good.
the limit, okay.
If it's at least, if you know that for sure, I haven't been
Yeah.
on
We're
for
good.
12. I think I've been appointed.
You guys have 3-year term limits, but I don't know when you were appointed, if you were
Well,
appointed to a
I-
full term, an
I
expired
was a full
term.
term to start with.
Yeah, I'd have to go, I mean, we have it all
I think I'm
recorded
on my
in,
second term.
we have it all recorded in our office. I just don't know off the
But I
top
think
of my
I'm on my
head.
second term. So
Well,
I
if
got
you
another,
haven't done 12 years, then you're.
yeah, there
you're
can't
good.
be. We haven't been around that long yet. so-
If it's a 12-year limit, that's what I thought it was, but I
Okay,
wasn't
well,
sure.
that's good to know.
Yeah,
So do
Tammy,
we-
excuse me, I
sorry,
just
go ahead.
searched it, and what it says is, no members of the Utility Advisory Committee in Boulder City are not term limited. They serve at the discretion of the city council.
But you
which-
hold terms. I'll go look and tell you what your terms
Yeah,
are.
Okay, well, that's
this is
fine.
the members shall be appointed to a 3-year staggered,
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
3-year
And we're all
staggered terms,
staggered.
but I
you're
don't
not-
know when
You're
yours,
not kicked out.
no.
But can we
All right.
get back to discussing the potential agenda items for the next meeting?
Yep. So we have one that we
Like state of the city.
reiterated. Anybody else? Larry, did you have, let me look at your notes, Larry.
I think the biggest thing was just, again, do we need to, so I guess Tammy, since you're here, so if we
She
want
took
to
off.
request a special, okay, if we want, so we need just to understand if we can request, I think we can request a meeting, special meeting during the time frame. I can request it if I understand the stuff right, to request a special meeting, and then the city would put a email out to everybody, all the committee members, I believe. So as long as Josh and Gary think that's right, then we would just need to look after the kickoff meeting to what we want to do for the rate process.
I think we're good with that. Anything else? Anyone else got a action?
I was thinking about putting something on the agenda item about the landfill like I talked about. There seems to be a little controversy now flowing about the landfill. Is the contract up in the next year or 6 months or?
So it would be outside of what this committee would discuss if you're talking about the contractor.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be for council to,
okay.
But you
So-
could
so-
also say that has to do with the cost of the landfill, so is that not part of our duties?
as part of the rate study and what the landfill operation is.
Not the operation, but the cost of the operation.
Yeah, but the contractor itself, within what, the agreement between the city and the contractor would not be.
No, but
But if you have some other, sorry, go ahead, Ken.
just the amount that it costs the city to run the landfill, or to have somebody run the landfill, would be part of our duties.
Rate study,
Is
what
that
you're
not
saying.
true, or?
I'll have to look into it. But my understanding is it would be, if to operate to what the city has operating a landfill, yes. But then, like, so if we're putting new fence in, any kind of projects that are going out there, improvement projects. And then also, but I understand what you're saying, because that falls under that total cost, but that's something I'll have to get back to.
Yeah, my reason for bringing this up, though, is there is some controversy about people dumping things that aren't from Boulder City, and I know the contract is probably kind of loose on that about and so I was just trying to get some information also on the recycling program.
If you'd like to meet individually, like with myself, we can schedule a
Can I do
meeting.
that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, I just have some questions, and rather than putting it as an agenda, I'm sure if I could talk to you right now, I just like to.
We'll talk,
Or sometime in
yeah, outside
the
of this
future?
meeting,
Yeah,
yeah.
I gotta do it outside.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
So then the
Any-
last one, last one, so Gary, since it got brought up a little bit more about what our scope is, do you think we can talk about that during the rate to make sure it's in our scope, or do we want to do a quick agenda item to say, let's just review our scope?
Well, Tammy's gonna send us what our scope is. Do you wanna have
It's
that
just
as
a matter of-
do you wanna have that as an agenda item, Larry?
It's just a matter of discussion. So again, does the committee understand, are we on the same page as far as we see our scope goes?
But,
Well-
well, we could put on, review, we could put on something like review scope of the utility services, committee, the UAC, we could just say, what is a discussion on scope of the UAC or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to do that before so it'd be this item right before the agenda or right before the rates. That way, we can sort of keep ourselves and, make sure that we're understanding so we try to stay out of the weeds.
Do we
Want
wanna?
to agendize that?
Yeah, we want agenda, I think we should.
Does that help, Gary, or is that problematic?
No, I think that That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, then we don't have any discussion, we don't. If we do, we do.
Right,
Good.
exactly.
All right. Anyone else? Everybody good? All right. Looks like we're
So
run
for
out
the
of
next,
things to talk to.
so
Talk
for the next agenda, we're going to include the recurring items along with additional items to discuss the rate study progress, affluent, a feasibility study, and reviewing the committee scope, correct?
Correct. Everybody good with that?
Just to clarify, when we're reviewing the scope is we'll get some more detail on and a little breakdown of that. So we have, and that's what you guys are looking for?
I think so, just so we know where our limits are here,
Okay.
or how we can put other agenda items on for display. Okay? All right.
Would there be anything that you all would want to remove from the next agenda? Because you might want to talk about the rate study a little more in depth, and some of the recurring items there just might not be many updates on, such as like ongoing projects or the 5-year capital plan, or power and consumption updates. Those are usually not a whole lot of updates regarding those, so maybe you might want to take some of those off for the next meeting and focus more on rate study. Just
Yeah,
a suggestion.
I'd be willing to do that. As far as the, I don't know about the amount of electricity and water we use. I mean, I always find that interesting, but the other two, the capital improvement fund and the, what was the other one? You mentioned?
Ongoing
Ongoing
projects. updates.
projects, yeah. I'd be willing to forego those for this next meeting because of the length of the meeting, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, because if we talk, we're going to be talking about those in detail in the rate. Like I agree with Josh.
can
Like
incorporate-
those could be.
There is a term limit.
Are you guys okay?
What's the pleasure? What's the pleasure? Do we want to take off item 2 and temporarily take off items 2 and 4?
Or if you don't think we need to hear about the power and water usage, is that, I'm
Well,
okay with
I'd like
taking
to-
it if you guys
I'd
don't
almost
want
like
it.
to get the reports. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, if we just.
I could still
that
send the
shouldn't take
reports,
much
but if you don't want it on the agenda,
I think it'd be nice to get, it'd be nice to get the information for 2, 3, and 4. We don't necessarily have to have them on the agenda.
Can we do that? Just
of course. And that information is readily available on the dashboards that I provided many meetings ago.
Easy to get to.
I'm sure it is,
The
but
dashboard.
it's easy for you to
I
get it.
gotta
but we
say,
have to-
that's been my problem as well.
I already missed the one because
Right,
I
yeah.
couldn't see good enough.
Yeah.
Glasses on, glasses
We
off.
can send out an email.
I'd rather have us, big bold letters, here's the, because otherwise, yeah, I've been on that, I haven't been on that website or that link for a while, and it was not that easily to be used, the last time I used it. It may have improved, because I haven't used it for a long time, so.
Yeah, no problem.
I think we're, anything else on the,
I think we're ready. So we're gonna remove items,
Or just for info. We don't have to,
we want information on items 2, 3, and 4,
Yeah.
we're gonna take them off the
not to
agenda.
discuss, right?
We're gonna take them off the agenda for the next meeting.
Well, I don't know if you take them off, if you want the information, or you just want to email us the information, can
I
you do
can
that?
email it to you.
Yeah, if you could just email, then that would
That'd be
fine.
great.
We could take them off then.
But let's make sure we need them back on when we need them.
Oh, yeah, just for this next upcoming meeting,
So,
right?
right, so we're
Yeah.
gonna make sure in the following meeting they're
Yeah.
back on, possibly. All right, cool. Everybody ready for that? Does that make, sounds like we're rolling to an end?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm going to move into the next level of public comment. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak at discretion of the chair. Comments during the public comment period, agenda may be on any subject that they want to discuss. So we'll open that up again right now. Please call in if you'd like to. Phone call would be 702-589-9629. That's call in for the public comment period after the meeting, or post-meeting, 702-589-9629. And we'll wait a minute or so here to see if anybody calls in. There is no one present in the chambers other than who's here at this point, so. No comments from the gallery, it looks like, at this point. So please call in if you want to. I think we're good. All right, yep, we just, about a good minute there. We're going, no more public comment. Should we need a motion for adjournment? Ready? Everyone, we're done? All right, meeting is adjourned.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Howard. Appreciate
All
it.
right, see you guys. Have a good trip, Larry.
Thanks.
Right.